just talk about this area first then, I guess, since we're here. The only thing that I think you need to do here is just, because the vegetation that's growing in here is going to eventually dominate and, you know, the sand won't be available, is just till this up a little bit. So this particular area that you see here that's all sandy and maybe up on that edge there, just dig it up. And it could be as simple as the York rake on the tractor or the bucket, just dragging some of the vegetation off of it. And it doesn't have to be anything special, or, you know, the turtles don't care. They just need sand and sun.
Okay, the fact that there are painted turtles underneath the surface being hatchlings right now.
What time of year would you suggest doing that?
Well, so there's always going to be a difficulty. So there could be hatchling painted turtles underneath there. There might not be. Some of them overwinter underground, some of them don't. But in general, if we're talking about, you know, the rare species, and particularly the endangered ones, they're going to be gone by now. So now's the time to do it.
Okay.
Waiting for the painted turtles to leave is challenging, because by the time they leave is when all the other turtles start to come up and start nesting. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just sort of a little bit of a trade-off.
Okay, so a good time is to do it now.
Yes.
Okay.
If we did uncover painted turtles,
Yeah.
is there a mechanism to rescue them?
If you get a hatchling painted turtle that comes out of the ground when you're doing work, if it's alive, put it in the water. You know, that's going to be the best.
That'd be the best.
It's best chance. Yeah, that would be it. But you know, the chances of you encountering one is probably pretty slim.
All right.
But it's possible. So, yeah. Again, nothing special. Just so you get another, like, if you think about it, like, you get another 5 years out of this area before it turns into grass, you know, and then they lose their opportunity. And there's always these little spots that the turtles will use, like there and whatever, but the more opportunity, the better. So, and this is going to be, like I said, it's going to be so easy to just...
So York rake through here would be fine?
Yep. I mean, even, you know,
Great.
a lot of people will do this without equipment, and they'll just take a hand rake to it, and it
But
does.
a rototiller? Even
Rototiller works.
Oh, yeah,
Is that
sure.
shallow?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go too deep, you know, just the surface, like, you know, get the moss and stuff like that off.
Can
No.
sand be added?
It can be, but you don't need it here.
Well, I was just wondering if
But
it's...
yeah, we do that in places where, like, we open up a forest area and it's just organic dark soil, and you have
Well,
to
that's what I'm
actually-
saying. We will have the ability to get a lot of sand.
Yeah.
So with our transfer station, we're putting in, and we're going to have a lot of access to
Yep.
that type of material.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're not going to need it here, but in other places, depending on where you might want to do work,
Okay.
then that's a nice
So
thing
even
to
a crew,
have.
even a crew with hand rakes in here could probably
Yeah.
scuff this up pretty fast.
Yeah.
What about a place like this that you're stepping on where I saw a turtle nesting? Does it look like anything came out, or over here, or is it too late to tell?
It may be too late.
Okay.
Sometimes you can see a tiny exit hole.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I have seen little holes. Those are exit holes
Yeah.
at the nest site.
They're really small.
So that means that they successfully got out.
Some of them did.
Okay, well,
I've
we
seen
have a lot more
pictures
holes.
of people saying, "Oh, look at a big hole that looks to me like it's been excavated by an animal with shells all over it." Do the
That-
predators don't eat the shells? Or?
No, they don't. Yeah,
So
the-
those are predators.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the little holes,
Yeah, I
which
know
we
it.
have some of over
Yep.
there. Okay.
Yeah, if they hatch and leave successfully, you don't even see the eggshells. If you see the eggshells, you know it was predated by a raccoon or a skunk or something like that.
Okay, now you had mentioned something to us about this spotted knapweed all the way around. We had thought of eliminating it,
The knotweed. Oh yeah, right.
and you had said leave it because you thought maybe some turtles were hanging out under there.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I think every so often you're going to want to just knock it back, but to try to beat it is just going to be impossible.
Yeah.
And
so
so
should we
you end up
cut it
doing
down,
more
or-
damage, like, you know, trying to manage it than you do just leaving it.
Okay.
So at this point, it's like, it's not overtaking anything too bad. It will, but just watch it.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll stake out, you know, because sometimes it can grow and it's sort of like, you know, just happens so slowly that you don't even really notice it. But sometimes I'll stake off an area, and that way I know how much it's spread in a couple of years or whatever.
Well, I keep it control. I have a couple ponds on my property.
Yeah.
They're man-made, but they've had knotweed come in.
Yep.
And what I do is I continually mow it down,
Yeah.
and I keep it confined to an area. And you can keep the perimeter as long as you willingly address it,
Yep.
like every couple of weeks, and finally it just
That's right.
you have
And
to.
and the reason why here that's not the best option is and that is the best way to do it, is just get it so that it can't photosynthesize, and eventually the rhizomes underground will die. But here, if you're mowing it the way that you need to, then you run the risk of hitting turtles
Right.
or hatchlings or nests or whatever.
So beat it back.
So didn't you mention leaving about a foot? So just cut the tops off that stuff and leave about a foot, so that way you have cover for turtles and stuff? Is that what you mentioned on the
No,
phone
I'm
call,
saying
or-
just leave it now, but you know, like if you do go to chop it down, just leave the slash.
Okay, so leave about
Yeah.
a foot of the stalks?
I would take the stalks right down to the ground.
Okay.
Because they'll still photosynthesize a
Okay.
little bit, and they'll leaf out and stuff.
Okay.
So, but again, in a year, you know, the next year, it's just going to start
Yeah.
to come back anyway. So there's going to be protection for the turtles anyway. It's just a matter. It's just trying to keep it to. You just want to make sure it doesn't dominate the whole site. That's all. And this sandy soil.
And currently it's not really dominating the
No.
whole site.
And we should once a year mow this
Yep.
stuff down,
Yeah.
and this is a good time.
Yep.
This being the end of October.
Yep.
Okay.
Mid-October is kind of like
Alright.
your safe spot.